June 6, 1944, perhaps the most famous date in military history. D-Day and the following days were full of images that for many are the first images they think of when thinking about World War II. Yet despite the film and TV exposure to what was such a great event, there was perhaps an even more important clashes about to happen in the Western Front. One that exposed the failings of Allied High Command as well as the importance of the average boot on the ground in World War II. As mentioned, D-Day was a huge undertaking. The Allies planned for 5 landings with American forces landing at Utah and Omaha beaches, British troops at Sword and Gold, with Canadians landing at Juno Beach. Prior to their landings, there were huge airborne invasions in an attempt to soften up the German resistance behind the beaches, and no doubt many have seen the TV show Band of Brothers and somewhat have an understanding of those soldiers' jobs. The landings were successful for the Allies. Despite massive casualties at Omaha, all the beaches were secured by the end of the day. If one is interested in alternate history, Stephen E. Ambrose, the same author who penned Band of Brothers, wrote an excellent piece about the impact of a failed D-Day. With the landings successful, there came the first issue for Allied High Command. The Americans believed that securing the Breton Peninsula was key to providing success in the breakout campaign in Normandy. However, Montgomery and the British believed that Caen and access up the Seine was an important line to attack through. Thus, the British and Canadians, as well as the Poles, attacked the Norman city of Caen with grave casualties. Initially, German tanks, the 12th SS Panzer Division, as well as the 21st Panzer Division, proved too strong for the British, and thus the Brits were contained. It took the combined arms of artillery and aircraft until German resistance was softened up enough that the British could push into the city. Caen had pulled in many German forces from the Normandy area, and Omar Bradley, commander of the US First Army, wished to push to secure Brittany and the large ports in the peninsula. However, in his way was the town of St. Lo. In the lead up to the offensive of the town, 3,000 Allied bombers had bombed the area of St. Lo and the St. Lo-Pierres Road. The narrow front meant that the Panzer-Lehr division stationed in the area took heavy casualties. However, Americans suffered due to the bombers too. The angle of approach that Bradley wanted was impossible for the bombers, and thus, due to not being able to identify friendly positions, over 100 American troops were killed by their own bombs, including Lieutenant General Leslie McNair, the highest-ranking US officer to be killed on the Western Front. St. Lo was close and bloody quarters combat for the American soldiers, yet all was not over.
Wiped out.
The Americans swung round to the south while von Kluge led a German counterattack to the north of American positions. While success was won by the German forces, all they had managed to do was create a salient in which Montgomery noticed that there was the possibility for an advance that would cut off and surround the German forces. On the 8th of August, Operation Totalize was the initial phase of this Falaise push, which was led by the Canadian forces in Kangaroos. These were a devised armoured vehicle that was based off the M7 self-propelled gun and used as an armoured personal combat vehicle. The attack was initially successful for the Canadians, however, coming up against German panzer divisions led to many casualties for both the Canadians and Polish forces who supported them. Yet they succeeded in capturing Hill 195 north of Falaise, putting the Germans in a bad position. At the same time, the US Third Army pushed up and on the 12th of August captured Encirclement, which put von Kluge in an uncomfortable situation. He had to either commit troops to defend his southern flank or commit other troops to an initial counterattack that he had planned against the British and Canadians. With American commander Omar Bradley now in command of the Third Army, he ignored an order from Patton and carried on with his push, moving away from the town of Argentan, which would have completely closed the pocket and therefore prevented Germans from fully escaping. However, despite heavy combat between American forces and SS Panzer forces, which included the dreaded Tiger tank, the Americans held and helped put pressure on von Kluge. Who at this point ignored orders from Hitler to push with another counterattack. Hitler therefore agreed to a retreat, yet fired von Kluge, who either killed himself or was executed by the SS. It is unclear from the sources. Model took over the command and immediately ordered a full fighting retreat. By the 19th of August, Polish and Canadian forces joined the American in the town of Chambois in the south, and the gap was closed. However, there were still over 50,000 German forces trapped in the pocket who attempted to fight out. The Allies managed to keep most of them contained. However, in an eerily similar situation to Dunkirk 4 years prior, many Germans abandoned equipment in attempts to slip past Allied lines. The casualties on both sides were immense. German forces lost about 450,000 troops, of which 240 were either killed or wounded. The Allies, on the other hand, lost 210,000 casualties among the ground forces, which about 36,000 were killed, with about 20,000 missing. Yet, with the closure of the Falaise Gap and the surrender of German forces, the road to Paris was clear. And on the 25th of August, Paris was finally liberated. Despite this victory, the issues around the Falaise Gap showed the glaring problems with the Allied High Command, problems that would come to cost the lives of yet more Allied troops in the year to come until the end of the war. The battle around Falaise is still taught to American officers, not due to any bold tactical ideas, but due to the importance of coalition forces working together. One of the greatest and bloodiest few weeks on the Western Front, the battles that made up the Falaise Gap showed the Nazis truly what they were up against with the combined ground, sea and air power of the Allies. With the Soviets on one side and the Allies on the other, there was only a matter of time before the fall of the Third Reich. Well, thank you so much for joining us through this mental and ambitious video that we did today on the Falaise Gap. A period of World War II history that I feel is sometimes left out, I think a lot of people who knew that this was coming were half expecting me just to boot up Call of Duty 3 and play through that and then explain when we went, but I thought that'd be too easy, so we decided to give ourselves a little bit of a challenge. I have a few people I'd like to thank for helping me create this video. That would be Wes, Char, Indy Jacob, and Charlie Zulu from the Democrat Civ community, as well as Pitbox from the Demahoy community, and Patriot and Zach from the 19TE. You guys, without you, this wouldn't have been possible. Thank you very much for all the time you put into this one. As well as, you guys, if you've enjoyed this video, if you want to support us, then, like, share and subscribe to the videos. And hopefully you'll be excited with what we've got upcoming soon. We've got it all planned, it's on its way, so keep an eye out. As I say, Patreon subscribers get to know about what's coming out a little bit earlier than the rest of the people on YouTube. So, if you want to wait, you can, but if you don't, well, you know where to head. So, anyway, thank you very much for joining us. I've been Lozy, and thank you for joining us on this video.